Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Friday. How's everyone doing? Friday the 13th. Good morning, John. Good morning. I guess stop popping up. There we go. All right. United and Starlink signed a deal together for internet service. Patrick, good morning. Happy Friday the 13th. Same to you. Thank you for tuning in. We have the import-export prices come out this morning. Import prices down 0.3, export prices down 0.7, both lower than expected. Import prices still year over year up 0.8, while export is down minus 0.7. More important number coming out at 10 a.m. We have the consumer sentiment, the short term and the longer term inflation expectations and current conditions. And those are the preliminary numbers for September. What else? What is this 2 of 2? Where did I miss the 1 of 2, Sterling? Is this it? Oh, yeah, I saw that yesterday. Well, we also had you had the Nikki Leaks article. The Nikki Leaks article coming out in the Wall Street Journal yesterday, which puts should they go 25 or 50, that he's the Fed whisperer. Putting that, you also had, what is it, ex-member Dudley, I think it was, putting out the thing that they should go 50. So you have a lot that's saying they should still, even with these, super core still remaining high, which is a measure they do watch. PPI popping up, that you're putting a lot of doubt on that 25 basis point cut. Also, so you have Fed watch. Let's just do a refresh here, but it was last time I refreshed it was 57.43. Nearly, all right, 55.45. Very close to 50-50 with 5 days to go, which is a rarity. Massive uncertainty. And they say, oh, we're not political. We don't want to be seen as political. You do a 50 basis point cut the last time, right before the election, which will favor the incumbent party, the way that's viewed. Whew. I mean, you're not even doing 25. Why didn't you do 25 in July and 25 in September? Because the data has not changed that much. Good morning, Sterling. Where else do we have? Yeah, I saw this yesterday. Uh, Median would cost 160 square foot in 2019. Now the median is 238 per square foot, and that's across the country. Some areas are worse. Areas around where I am now, we're trading below 200 square foot now, trading selling over 400 a square foot. That's over 100% increase. And the housing price has shrunk. So, what else? Let's see if there's anything else. You're putting in a lot of stuff here today, Sterling. Yeah, interest on national debt is the fastest growing item in the federal budget, now consumes a quarter of all government revenue. Now, what happens to government revenue if we have a recession? Think about that. Good morning, Royal Palms. Good morning, Jake the Snake. Good morning, Jacob. Hello, Charles. Jake says a lot of manipulation across the board right now. Very interesting timing with stuff. So, I mean, the market's looking, if they go 50, it's a plus. I'm not so sure. But remember, everything wants a bailout on any little dip. We keep this up, boy, it's not going to be good. Good morning, Ted. Uber and Waymo expand partnership to bring autonomous ride-hailing to Austin and Atlanta. There you go. I mean, around here where I am around here, you see all the time the Waymo cars, no driver, can hail it with the app, have it take you places, no driver. So, really, again, after the consumer sentiment, you just have rig count for the crude traders. Lots of little patterns triggered yesterday. Let's check in on the pre-market. Adobe after earnings down 8%. Restoration Hardware up big. They beat, but they're up big, and they have still a huge PE. I don't get some of this stuff. Oracle up. That's really driving stuff higher right now. Google, Apple sort of up. We had another rally in Nvidia yesterday, but no close above that 62.5. So in terms of sectors, yeah, energy leading, financial technology, basic materials, consumer cyclicals, the only thing that's lagging, but everything positive. We already looked at the Fed watch about 50-50 going into next week, 5 days away, and we're back to neutral mode in the fear and greed. Schiller PE back over 36 in this dirt cheap market, and no earnings today. So we are done with that. Now, we had the double trigger. We talked about that. Hit first, second target, little pullback to the 4-hour rotation zone, and that 55-45 area, rotating back up. And, we hit the final target. And we also, on the daily, closed above the 62.5 after we closed above the 70. We closed at 75. So now magnet price is 56. Which one is? It is 5635. 5635 is the next magnet price, but you have a huge cluster up here and then about 5657. And that's just not necessary for today. That can be going into next week. The key support now that I'm looking at is first level is about 55.80. Then we have major support about 55.65. So that's what I'm looking for. We are getting to daily cycle top areas, but that can continue into next week. Weeklies are still trying to head down. By the way, this move up does not erase the potential double top yet. Even if it ekes out news highs, it did not retrace enough to destroy the potential weekly double top pattern. I'll let you know if that gets destroyed. Slowly, you know what? Very slowly. It's absolutely ridiculous around here. I keep going out occasionally to look at stuff that catches my eye, but there are homes. There are so many empty homes, and you talk to the agent. I'm like, I looked at one. I don't think I. All right, the home's been empty for 3 months. People already moved to Florida. Home's been empty. They bought it back in 2019 for $718K. The only thing they did, they didn't make no other changes to it. They put on solar, which, with my knowledge of solar and having put it up, they put about 50K in solar based off the array that they put up. They're trying to sell it for 1.295. It's been empty for 3 months, completely empty. They moved out. The agent was then talking to somebody else looking at this on the open house, and they're like, "Yeah, we turned down we got multiple offers at 1.2 million. They're lowballing us. We're holding out. So don't even bother putting an offer if it's less than 1.295." You're telling me you have less than 800K in the house in under 5 years, and you're turning down. Your house is empty. You're turning down one. You're not even bother responding. I mean, don't bother coming in anything less than full asking. If the house is empty and there's very little foot traffic, there's also one other person there. It's just absurd. I went out to like 4 open houses last weekend. All the houses were empty. They were not willing to even entertain anything less than full price offers. The house has been empty for a long time. These agents are just sitting there twiddling their thumbs. It's the amount. So you're sitting here with an empty house. I guess people just don't want to sell. But you know what? That's fine. We'll see what happens. The old double the price when no one was looking. The old double. So that's the way it's. I'm just slowly looking. I'm not going to be the idiot. So, that's fine. I'll just keep renting. There's stuff that I've even looked at, boy. Now, some people are lowering the price, but they're still so overpriced that even with their price lowering, they're still incredibly overpriced. There's a house I've looked at since April that's still sitting empty. They're slowly ratcheting the price down, but they're you know, again, it's just crazy. NASDAQ, by the way, closed above the 62.5. So I would not ignore 19.6. 19.6 is very key in the NASDAQ for me. 19.6, and then I'm watching about 19.2, 52.60 as support on a pullback. So that's where we sit with there. The Dow closing above the 62.5, hitting the 75 today. The magnet price 41,476. Daily cycle still climbing, so we could easily climb this into next week's Fed meeting. Now, does that mean you can't get an end of week pullback? And no, you can easily get that still, but the magnet price, I got to go with the probabilities. Russell coming up, daily cycle still climbing. Let me flip this around for the Russell in the short term. The key area is 2177.6. The VIX hanging at the upper end of 16, but no real escalation. It's just slowly the volatility draining out. Even though we are getting volatility back and forth, it's just slowly draining. The DAX. The DAX, there's still, keep this in mind too, if the DAX continues to rally, there's still a gap left behind 18,794. That's a key thing I would watch, and that would probably, let's just check something out. Yeah, it's got to go a little beyond there, but that could set up a double top pattern, a shorter term double top pattern potentially. It's not there yet, but I'd be watching if it does close in on that gap left behind. There is a little potential double top in the note futures, completely valid, and a potential little mini double bottom in the yield, the micro yields on the 10-year. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. Keep in mind they are against the rotation zones. 10-2s climbing back up. Remember, this gets real interesting from a technical perspective once it starts closing above about 20 basis points. Dollar index, big reversal. Did not confirm or trigger the double. As I said, from the percent beat buy, it was raising the trailing. Yesterday pretty much wiped that out, and then today it's now headed into triple bottom territory. Not quite there yet, but I'm just pulling that off. So with the increase of odds of 50 basis point, the dollar losing steam and not able to trigger the double. So I'm actually watching if they do 50, we could even go beyond. The next major harmonic area I'd be watching is around 99.40. If that breaks down after the Fed meeting next week, if they go 50. Crude, we had the little mini double bottom. You can see it right here. Talked about it. Triggered, pulled back. First target hit, pull back, and then just went to the third target. Stalled out at that third target, and now moving back on up. So the key level next. It also started out at this 37.5 harmonic, but on a continued crude rally. The top of the rotation zone, this would be my next personal target, would be around 71.45 area. Prior breakdown area with not with the candle bodies, but with the lows. Come on. You see right there, 50% harmonic and top of the rotation zone. Natty gas triggered the double yesterday. So key support now is back at 225. The first target, which is also the 50% harmonic, is 251, 252 area. So there's another one. Gold rocking and rolling yesterday. Now we've just hit the first harmonic. 2606. So key support all the way back at 2560. Next target 2641. They're trying to push prices higher and that's not good for anyone. Why can't they? That's what I'm seeing in the, especially around here. Thank you for being here, Andrea. I really appreciate you being here. Yeah, Andrea is a realtor. She hasn't chimed in on the chat in a long time, but I'm glad you're here. I'm seeing stuff. It is just pure greed. You know what? Why are you're not? It's just absurd, and you're leaving a house empty, which you still have to pay for upkeep. You still have to pay for insurance. Things can go wrong on an empty house, especially if it's not being lived in, and you're just holding out. Really, it's over a third of the properties I'm looking at are just completely empty and have been that way for quite some time. There's one that's also I looked at originally when I got out here in April, still sitting empty. The people already custom built a new house, but they're like, we can't accept less than this because we have to pay for our new house. They bought it for 760 back in 2018, and now they were at 1.3 million with no changes. It's just absurd. Yes, people are buying gold like crazy, Coco. Is a 10-year weekly double top of valid pattern? Is this, did it, I'm trying to remember if it got high enough in here. Let's just take a look. Did this get to, yeah, it technically is. You have a little lower probability because of this extended time over here, but let's just see. It did hit that. Yeah, you could get it all the way back down. That would be 3.3, 3.06, 2.82. Yep. Now, this is a weaker double top on the weekly for a number of reasons, but those are the targets below, and especially this could go down and retest the January 23 low range. You blame the buyer's realtor for being greedy and advising. Well, yeah. You know what I've also seen, because we're getting a number of properties here that are just delisted. I've looked at them. There are some I've actually been interested in, and I tried to even work out something and say, okay, would you be interested in coming down a bit? And they ended up delisting. Multiple. This has been on multiple. They were not willing to work on price at all. They're just like, we'll delist and relist next year or after the election. And I'm not talking, hey, I'm lowballing you 50% down. It's just like, all right. So that's why I've slowed down with stuff. But that is correct, 10-year. What else do we have today? The yen breaking down. I'm surprised that the market's just, this is going to put more pressure on the short-term people rolling the carry trade. Next target, though, is the next major target is 139.15. Euro, keep an eye on the euro if it closes above 111.27. That would shift the probabilities back up for a retest. Bitcoin, not much going on with everything. The strength of the markets. Look at crypto. There's not much to talk about here. But Ethereum still, unless Ethereum closes, Ethereum's got the best patterns right now. Unless the Ethereum closes above 28.20, which would trigger this double bottom, it still has probabilities lower. You think there's going to be no recession. You're all in the soft landing camp. I would be shocked if there's not a recession. Consumer is tapping out. Consumer is tapping out. Yeah, not on the high end, but on the middle to low end, it's tapping out. We had NVIDIA. The key thing to still watch for on NVIDIA is I said 120 yesterday. You can keep that in mind, but the technical level is 119.89. All right. I'm trying to. Here was another example. Now this is interesting. You had a little mini daily double that actually went after hours. Now, was it tradable? Not really, because earnings dropped it below the base, so it confirmed. And with the levels, it still has a close below there on a daily basis. It would have had to be an earnings play trade, but that already went to full target. It's bouncing back a little. I'm still interested, by the way. This is still, even with this little mini double on Adobe, if Adobe continues to roll over, like bounces and then it rolls over and closes back below 500, this is still a bigger double on the daily time frame that has the first and second targets that are valid. So we could see, if this were to trigger, Adobe returning to 440 at some point. And Restoration Hardware. Now, this was the first beat in the last 3 earnings releases. So it beat on revenue. Not a huge beat, but it beat on revenue. It beat on EPS. But look at this. It's not a cheap stock. What is the P to E? Still 68. And now that's going to change with the latest earnings release and this new price, but it's not getting a lot cheaper. And look, gapping up above here. Now the only thing is back above 331. Other than that, you're into a major topping potential area though before another rollover. I'm actually shocked at the size of that gap. All right, let's just peek back at the S&P. The S&P going into the open. Into the open, very key. It's what we tested about an hour ago. So this would be the key little level I'd be paying attention to going into the open right around 56.05. That's the key level I'd be paying attention to going into the open. As well as looking at the tick, and the breakout level is about 55.16. 56.16, sorry, 56.16. So those would be the 2 levels I'd be watching going into the open. Again, happy Friday the 13th, everyone. Hope everyone has a fantastic trading day. Remember, Fed meeting next week. We could still be running up in terms of cycles heading into that meeting. And based off this level of uncertainty, watch for any more potential leaks or clarifications from even ex-Fed members on whether it's because they're going into the quiet period. So it would have to be leaked through sort of back channels what the Fed, because this is very uncertain for the markets, being the toss-up between the 25 and the 50. And that could get interesting if it remains completely uncertain going into the actual meeting. So watch for any potential other leaks coming out. That would be my advice, especially today. Good morning, Richard. You have triskaidekaphobia. Did I miss TLT? Was I asking for TL? Did I miss a request? Did I miss a request for TLT? In the bigger picture, now, in the bigger picture here, you're trading against pretty key support, this 99 area. The next targets up would be 102.87, then 106.27. As long as it does not continue and drop back below about 98.50, it's continues in short-term bullish mode, and it's in medium and longer-term bullish mode. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you for tuning in. Hope everyone has a fantastic Friday and a fantastic weekend. As we're headed into more fall weather. Here, we might finally get a weekend where we have a high not above 100. So we might be getting a break after over like 100 and something consecutive days above 100. So with that, I will talk to everyone next week. Bye for now.